will Ethereum flip Bitcoin? Like, will the market cap, the value of Ethereum flip Bitcoin? I personally don't think so. I think Ethereum's had, 5, 6, 8 years to try and flip Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the biggest. Bitcoin was the first mover. It's also trying to take up, in my opinion, a bigger market share. It's trying to be a digital gold. It's trying to be a new payments rail system for the global monetary system. Welcome back to episode 13 of the Ben and Berg Show, where your favorite college dropout and MBA sit down and talk about Web3, crypto, investing, life, food, memes, and whatever else comes to mind. Bergs, how are you doing?
Mate, we're going good, man. It's not a bad Monday. It's a bit rainy and miserable out here, but I'm in good spirits, mate. I'm loving it. Get to see you, get to do a podcast, mate. What could be better?
Bergs, how was your Father's Day yesterday?
Mate, it was awesome. I got breakfast in bed, got some pancakes, absolutely brilliant, tasted delicious. From my daughter, she's little, so I got a little card and my wife had to write in it what it was. And she's like, "Dad, you're the best dad. This is amazing. You look like Graham with your beard." It's like giving me crap. And I'm like, "You're too young to be doing that. That is absolutely ridiculous." And then a couple of sentences just sledging me. And I'm like, "What the hell?" And then she's like, "But I love you." And I was like, "Okay, amazing." And it made me laugh first thing in the morning. It was great. I got a few bits and bobs. One of the awesome things was at my daughter's school, they've got a little Father's Day table. And you can go up there. It costs a couple of bucks and you can choose something. And one of the parents made a spice rub for barbecue. And I smelled it and I was like, "This smells amazing. This smells like the shit that I use." So I looked at the little label and it was literally every ingredient that I use, like salt, pepper, garlic, cayenne pepper, paprika, all this stuff. I was like, "Oh, this is amazing." Saves me making it up. So nice. Good. Got a whole bunch of other stuff. Got some scratchies as well.
Oh.
So, mate, I got to tell you the scratchy story. So usually I don't win anything, right? I win nothing, absolutely nothing. I had 5 scratchies. I'm onto the 5th one, and it's got this thing with different locks. So there's 6 different locks, and each of them has 5 numbers on them. You scratch your numbers at the top, and then you scratch the locks off. I'm like, "Okay, cool, let's go. I'm going through, and I got 1 lock, I got 2 locks, I got 3 locks, and eventually I got all 6 locks, and I was like, holy shit. And I saved so I'm trying to maximize the dopamine, right? So in the middle of them, they got a little prize thing and you scratch the prize and you find out what you win. So I'm like, "Oh man, one of these is going to be 75 grand for sure. Oh, let's go, baby. Doing the big Europe holiday. All right, let's go." So I scratched the first one, $5. Second one, $5. Third one, $5. All the way down, all of them were $5. I ended up winning $30, which is still really good. It could buy me some lunch, right? But I was like, "Oh, this is going to be the big one for sure." I'm like, this in my head, I'm going through scenarios. I'm like, this is a misprint ticket.
What am I going to do?
It's definitely I've definitely got the one. This is what you see in the movies. I'm winning for sure.
Already booked the Europe flights.
Oh, that's it, mate. That's it. And caught up with the in-laws as well. That was really good. Had some afternoon tea there and just a really, really awesome Father's Day, mate. How about you? How was your weekend?
It's good, dude. I had a webinar I had to do at 2 a.m. Friday night. So my body clock was all out of whack. I didn't get to bed till 4 a.m. Friday night.
You flew home on Friday as well, didn't you?
Yeah, and then stayed up, smashed some V just to stay up, and then did the webinar. About 400 people tuned in, so that was pretty cool.
That's huge.
And then sort of hung out Saturday, didn't do too much, and had a nice Father's Day yesterday. Went out for a lunch with the fam, which was fun.
Amazing.
But mate, today there's a few things we're going to chat about. So first of all, we're going to chat about crypto. A lot of money being raised that hasn't been deployed yet. We're going to talk about the merge that's coming up. A couple of charts as well. Bergs and I are getting you some charts. A couple of different ratios giving us some pretty good buy signals and also development on Bitcoin, which is going to be pretty interesting. I'm going to chat about NFTs, where the NFT market's at, what you should be doing if you're first in NFTs or looking to buy some. Then at the end, I'm going to go through a bit of a sales and acquisition strategies that we've been using and just some lessons learned if you're running a business and want to acquire customers. I'm going to chat about that at the end. So
that's awesome.
Power punch episode today, Bergs. I want to start with though, mate, on the weekend. How good was the footy? Holy shit.
Mate, amazing. So we went out to the pub and my mate got there an hour early and he got a booth, right? I was like, "Oh, nice. Lad, what a lad." How rich do you feel when you sit in a booth, first of all? Seriously, you feel like you're top of the wazza. So he's sitting there and he's like, "Oh, guys, come down." I'm like, "Man, you're there way too early." And he's like, "No, just come down early." And he's telling me he's sitting there. He can't go to the bar. He can't go take a leak. He can't do anything because someone will take the table. So he's literally just camped there for an hour. Which which is absolutely hilarious. But then we get there, the footy just started, and oh mate, it was at an American place. They're having burgers, chicken wings, we're playing cards, watching the footy. What a cracking game! That was probably one of the best games I've ever seen, mate.
Freo
Unbelievable.
were dreadful in the first half. It was like 40 to nothing basically. Doggies up, and then the second half, my goodness, I don't know. I didn't even think Freo played that well, honestly. Like, I don't know what happened to the Doggies. They just went to shit. Like,
yeah, honestly, like, man, after the first quarter, everyone was ready to go home. Even when you're looking at the footy, the crowd was just ready to stab people. They're like, what is this? It's like 42 to like 2.
Yeah,
it was ridiculous. The game was over, right? They need a mercy rule in footy. If they had one, they would have played it for sure. But then slowly but surely, they just started coming back. And my mate had the craziest multi where, I don't know, it was like 6-1 and he needed like Freo to win, some guy to get 25 touches, Waters to score like 2 goals, and another crazy thing that would just never happen. And by the end, we're like, you idiot, lost all your money, sucked in. We're just giving him crap like first quarter, second quarter, third quarter. And the fourth quarter, he got it.
That's unbelievable. Doggies didn't score a goal for nearly an hour. Like,
that's ridiculous. Okay, so for everyone out there, if you're not used to AFL, if you're 40 points in front, you're pretty much going to win.
Yeah, it's game
like
over.
they were 40, 7 goals in front.
I was looking at the live betting. They were paying $1.03 at one stage, $1.03, and Freo were $11.50.
Yeah, another one of my mates, he went heavy on the Doggies, and he cashed out after the first quarter. Luckily,
good. That's good.
Mate, yeah, but it was one of those games where it's like you come in, you're all excited, you got your jug of beer, you got like your chicken wings, you're watching it. The pub was just full, like it was ridiculous. Like it was like you had to like go through the crowd. Like I've never seen a pub that packed for ages, mate, ages. Yeah. So the atmosphere was just crazy. They had it playing through the big speakers, big projectors, lots of TVs. It was absolutely going nuts. And we're just like screaming at the TV, but then like everyone just gets deflated more and more and more because we're all from Perth. We like to hate on the Doggies. And like it's all over pretty much. We're just ready to go home, order some more food, play. We got bored, so we started playing cards on the table, like watching it. And slowly but surely, they were just coming back with like, a couple of goals. They're still going to get flogged. Oh, actually, they're only 1 goal away. Holy shit, they're in front. Now they scored another one. And it's like, now there's a turnover and they scored another one. Now they're 2 goals in front. It was just so good, man.
Dude, how good are finals footy? Like, finals footy.
Amazing.
Like, Geelong-Collingwood was a cracking game. I've never seen a better game. That was on Saturday before the Freo game. Yeah. Packed out MCG, 92,000 people. Whew. It was goal for goal. And then Thursday night, my Lions, I didn't see a bloody minute of it because we're over in Perth. There was 17 lead changes in the Brisbane-Richmond game. We ended up winning by 2 points. I went home after our night at the Perth Angels, and I went home and I watched the last 2 minutes like 6 times just to watch Richmond lose because I hate Richmond. It's so good.
And the best part about this, so we were at an event, Ben was doing a talk, so we didn't see any of it. We're on our work game, and one of my mates, Josh, he's like a massive Richmond supporter. And he was trying not to show it, but he was so defeated. It was so good. And we actually had a Lions supporter, because no one likes the Lions, right? But we had Ben in the room, and he's just like, suck me. It would have been so good, man.
So this Friday, I've just bought tickets to Brisbane, Melbourne, in the semi-final at the G. Knockout final.
You flying up to the G?
No, it's at MCG.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I've got my TEDx talk on the Saturday. So my dad, my mum, and me bought tickets, 3 of us, in the members at the MCG, knockout final, Friday night against Melbourne.
Unbelievable, mate. Unbelievable. How much are they? They cost you a fair penny, mate?
Well, you could get different tiers. I went tier 1, so I think it was $92 per ticket.
That's really cheap. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's not bad. We're in the M, so on the bottom level, sort of halfway back, so you get a good view of the game.
Yeah.
Probably like just on the wings, you're going to get a good view.
Oh, just being there, mate, it'd be sick.
Atmosphere
would be mental.
Yeah, I reckon there'll be 90,000 there, I reckon. Maybe 70, depends. Brisbane.
That's
anyway,
so good.
Last thing before we get into crypto. So, got upgraded today, Bergs, on my frequent flyer, because I've been flying around.
Here we go. Here's a story, mate. Here's a story. Come on with it.
So, I usually fly Virgin. I like Virgin. Virgin's good. Get the lounge access, whatever. And they've got partner airlines. When I've been flying overseas, we usually book through Virgin because you get the points.
Yeah.
Got upgraded to the top tier this morning on Virgin. It's taken me about 3 or 4 years to get there. Platinum
what is that?
tier.
What does that give you, mate? What is platinum?
Free, get this right, I don't know how many. I think there's like four or five free upgrades to business.
Get fucked.
Free. I get platinum tier with the Hilton hotels, platinum tier on Eurocar, free economy X, so the emergency aisle, and then Virgin had the economy X, so like extra legroom, free upgrades. Get this right. If you want to get on a flight where they've booked out the economy, don't worry, mate. You're platinum. You just ring up, and they'll book you on a booked out plane ticket. I don't even know how that happens. I don't know if they kick people off or what the hell they do. Doesn't
Probably, mate. They'll kick someone like me off.
If you want to get on a plane, that's Bergs. We're going to boot Bergs because you're platinum, mate. On you go. Unbelievable. Yeah. So anyway,
that's incredible.
Yeah, it's good though. And then you get lounge. Anyway, it's pretty good. Version pretty good usually. So I mean, shit, I've done some flying over the last this year. Rack up those points, mate. So anyway, wanted to mention that. Also, quick shout out to Carlton supporters, Juddy and I, Chriss Judd.
Oh, your best mate.
We're doing a talk on Friday at the Monash University, so we're doing a crypto talk. Mate, they had to move us to the big stage. They've had to.
I saw this post in Slack about security. What's going on there, mate? You don't need security. Jeez, look at that head. That's enough to scare people off.
Yeah,
this is for Juddy, isn't it?
Yeah. It was. I said Juddy, mate. That security's not for me, mate. That's for you. But yeah, it's gonna be good. So we got a little panel. They've had to move us to the main stage because there's that many folks attending.
So for those that don't know, Juddy is Chriss Judd. He used to play for the Eagles in Carlton. He's like a big personality. Like basically, if you're in Australia and if you're an AFL player, you're a legend. Everyone knows you. Everyone will say hi to you. Everyone will like you, kind of respect you, that kind of stuff. Unbelievable. You're on a stage with this guy.
Yeah, so Juddy's a big investor now. I think he runs a fund, big into stocks, Nasdaq listed companies, into crypto. He's into property. I think he owns a few horses as well. He's properly in the investor game.
I've seen a lot of people. Well, not a lot, a small percentage, but there's a pathway now when you're kind of on the tail end of your AFL career. For some reason, you start studying something like business or you get into crypto or finance. And, for the last couple of years, you'll be studying something like your MBA where, Pav's done it, Brad's done it, a few other people as well. I know a few of the Eagles and Dockers saw them when I was studying as well. And then they go into, media or they'll go into finance. Consulting is another one that's huge.
Well, you think these guys, they get paid big dollars for playing AFL. Like, some of the top players are on, million, 1.5 a year. So probably coming out with liquid cash, I don't know, 3 to 10 million in cash. And they're businesses, they're brands. They've got social media, they talk in front of the camera, they're known people, right? So like it's a natural pathway, I think, when you've got cash. You already know what you're doing. You run your own businesses yourself as a player. Yeah. Brand deals, sponsorships, Juddy probably does commentating. I don't know. Like there's a lot of different avenues there.
And this is the other thing. Like a couple of hours from the UWA MBA, they went on to work for Bain and McKinsey. And could you imagine you're going to a top consulting group, right? They charge an absolute wazza. Like the top tier and like the second tier, they'll charge over double for sure, right? And could you imagine like an AFL player rocks up that's actually skilled in the thing that you want, and that brand presence that you're bringing to that, $10 or $50 million engagement, unbelievable.
100%.
Yeah, such a good pathway.
Get that following, definitely, totally agree. But that's a good segue into crypto. So we had an event on Thursday last week in Perth. It was the Perth Angels event. So there was a bunch of angel investors, Web3 investors, a lot of non-crypto investors as well. And we did a presentation on crypto and portfolio structure. And it was a good night. Like there was a lot of newbies into crypto and we're looking at like what the opportunities are. There was a big discussion around the ETH merge that's coming up. So we're less than a couple of weeks away from the ETH merge. The dangers, opportunities. I got to say, mate, your talk, I was like, so I rock up, right? And, it's a work thing. So, I dress up nicely. Ben's there wearing his like bum clothes as he usually does. I'm there, got a nice suit jacket. He comes up, starts harassing me straight away. Anyway, Ben's up first and he does his talk. And I got to say, mate, it was epic. It was the talk of the night. It was really good. It was so structured. Loved your stories. Loved your graphs and how you talked up Bitcoin and ETH, not, shilling stupid projects or anything like that, and really gave people a simple understanding, and your analogies were great. Well done, man. Like I had a lot of comments afterwards on that. Even one of my mates attended. He's never bought crypto in his life. And over the weekend, he was messaging me about how to buy crypto and bought his first crypto. Nice. That's what we're here to do. I love that. So I think that's one of the biggest mistakes beginners make when they get into crypto. They chase the altcoins, they chase the hype. The mate's telling them the work to buy this random altcoin, they buy it, and then within weeks it goes down. Structuring your portfolio as a beginner, I think, should compose of Bitcoin and Ethereum. I think it should be about 70% Bitcoin, 30% Ethereum, and learn about what money is. Because money, once you understand it, is what gives Bitcoin so much value. Because Bitcoin is hard money. It's limited supply, it's deflationary, and it's really going to, I believe, take over most currencies and the store of wealth down the track. So start out with Bitcoin and Ethereum. Don't get into the weeds of trading altcoins and NFTs too early. Start at the top and work the way down.
Absolutely. And go to a reputable exchange, something like Coinbase, something that's been around for a while. Start off there and eventually get to your hardware wallet and self-custody, and make sure you know all the risks and everything around that.
100%.
Jump on the Collective Shift website. It's all free. You can learn it all there. But definitely BTC ETH, that's the way to go. That's the perfect starting portfolio.
With Ethereum Bergs, I still haven't listened to Checkmate's bearish analysis. It's on my list to listen to, but there's a big discussion last week around what's going to happen around the merge. There's a lot of unknowns. There's a lot of bearish cases, a lot of bullish cases. What's your take on the merge? Are you selling your ETH? Are you keeping it? Are you just holding on? What are you doing?
Nah, I'm bullish AF, mate. Love it. Love it. So, and this is the thing. We had a huge discussion last Thursday night. We had an OG member there, and he was talking about this guy called Checkmate, who's a dead set legend. And he was talking about what it boils down to. There's a lot of known unknowns with Ethereum. They're going to do all this stuff. We don't know how it's going to shake out. We don't know if there's going to be censorship or centralization where they start canceling transactions or censoring them. And also they're taking away a proof of work algorithm and moving it to proof of stake. And proof of work was what gave Ethereum an edge, right? Like it gave it a lot of kind of, it was a really high quality thing to have, right? Like Bitcoin's the most, ignorant thing on the planet. It's got proof of work algorithm. And we do that because it's more trustless and you're not sacrificing, censorship or centralization or anything like that, because there's so many nodes in the network. Taking that away, going to proof of stake, what that means is you'll use less energy. The people that stake their ETH will then be rewarded, and there's all like rules and everything around that. But within that, we don't know how that's going to play out. So for me personally, I am super bullish and long ETH. So for me, I'm not going to sell my ETH and then wait to see what happens. And if it goes up, quickly buy, or if it doesn't, buy more. I'm holding it long term. I'm holding that my ETH for like over 10 years, mate. Like it's just flat out. I'm not selling. I'm never selling. I don't think I've ever sold any ETH. I'm just gonna stack it and just keep dollar cost averaging over time. If there is a significant downtrend, I will be buying. And for me, all of these things, even though they're known unknowns, we don't know how they're going to shake out. If you look at the bigger picture and who's invested in this, how much wealth is locked up in ETH, and also how much innovation is happening, how many things have been built on it, how hard it is to swap chains and do cross-chain things. I don't think all of that is just magically going to go away because it's a large aspect is changing. I think it will become a new thing, and I think it's moving more towards what the market actually wants, what the early majority wants. What are your thoughts around it, mate?
Great point. Well, look, I'm not going to claim to be an expert about all the ins and outs and the micro details of what's going to happen with the merge, and there's obviously a lot of risks around it. But the way I look at it is every crypto asset that is valuable solves a problem. At a core, they're like businesses, and every crypto project that has value should solve a problem. And to do that, to build a crypto project, to build any business is super bloody risky. And what Ethereum are trying to do, what Bitcoin's trying to do, what most crypto assets are trying to do is try and do something that's never been done before. So there's risks with everything. And obviously there's a lot of discussion around decentralization versus centralization. And at the core, cryptocurrencies around that decentralization aspect. But like any technology, when new and starting out, there's always going to be people involved. Well, not necessarily Bitcoin, but Ethereum, for example, they're trying to build the platform, the app store of the Web3 world. They're trying to make it scalable. They're trying to build a platform that businesses can build on top of. And they believe that proof of stake is going to be a much better platform, blockchain, to empower businesses to build on top of Ethereum. So I'm all for it. I'm not selling my Ethereum. Super bullish long term, even if there's complications in the short term. Like we've got the smartest minds, some massive amount of capital invested into Ethereum to make sure it works. I'm long and bullish Ethereum as always.
And you got asked a really interesting question. I think it was to the panel, and I'll ask it to you now. And it boiled down to, Ben, long term, Bitcoin or ETH, is the flipping happening?
Yeah, it's a good question. So the question was, the flipping, for those people that don't know, will Ethereum flip Bitcoin? Like, will the market cap, the value of Ethereum flip Bitcoin? I personally don't think so. I think Ethereum's had, 5, 6, 8 years to try and flip Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the biggest. Bitcoin was the first mover. It's also trying to take up, in my opinion, a bigger market share. It's trying to be a digital gold. It's trying to be a new payments rail system for the global monetary system. Bitcoin's opportunity for me is a lot bigger as that monetary system versus the Ethereum platform space. But again, if Ethereum goes up, Bitcoin tends to go up. If Bitcoin goes up, it pulls Ethereum up. These sort of lead 1 and 2. And for me, I just think that Bitcoin has a bigger opportunity. I don't think the flipping will happen. I think they're both going to be massively valuable in the future, but I'm not betting on Ethereum to overtake Bitcoin.
Yeah, I'm of the same mind as well, where I think Bitcoin has a long way to go. And the comparison is with gold, where it's like, $11 trillion. Bitcoin's under $1 trillion. Just to have that store of value with gold. And then if you think about everything else you can do on top of Bitcoin, that's going to be huge. So I'm more bullish on Bitcoin than I am on ETH, although I'm ultra bullish on both, right? And I don't think Bitcoin will flip ETH, but I think if you add up ETH on the Ethereum chain, and then you add up all the things that are built on top of it, like all the stable coins, all the value that's locked in there, that's already bigger than Bitcoin. That's huge, right? And I think that will start to grow, but I don't think Ethereum itself or ETH will flip Bitcoin.
Just look at I hate the saying we're so early, but if you look at, I actually thought the Bitcoin market cap was a lot bigger than where it is right now. When I was checking this morning, it's only 350 billion US dollars. It's only half a trillion Australian dollar market cap. Gold market cap, physical gold, has a $10 trillion USD market cap. That's a 20x more, nearly a 25 or 30x from here, just to get to where physical gold is. That is insane.
Yeah.
The opportunity here for Bitcoin is not just physical gold. It's a currency. It's a payment rail system. It's a payment network. It's so much more than what physical gold can do. I can't pick up my $100,000 worth of gold and take it on the airport or send it to my mate in Mexico or pay my employees or pay my taxes in. You can't do any of that with physical gold. The opportunity here is massive.
And you're saying as well, like we've got a couple of contractors and we pay them in Bitcoin because it's just easier.
Yeah.
Instead of doing this T plus 2 plus 10% plus whatever, it's like, no, here it is in 5 minutes. See you later.
Yeah, not even 5 seconds. You know what I mean? Like,
that's exactly right. And then you look at things like Lightning and everything that's being built on top. You look at layer 2 on Ethereum as well. Like this space is just going to be so huge. And we get back to it where I think we're more advanced and moving along. But then you're like, we still haven't solved this. We still haven't solved that. And you're still like, we're so early. I remember saying in 2017, we're so early.
Yeah.
We still are. When you talk to the average person, you realize, oh shit, yeah, we've got a long way to go.
So many issues still in the crypto space, like user experience. We're speaking on this on Friday night, Thursday night as well. User experience is still really bad in crypto. There's not a lot of investment being put into the front end.
Yeah.
Decentralized exchanges, for example, is a topic. Yeah, they're great, but they're a pain in the ass to use. And I think looking back in 10 years' time, we'll laugh at the technology that we're using today to interface into crypto projects. But one big piece of development, Bergs, which I want to chat about is the Lightning Network development and growth. So
I'm excited to hear this.
Hopefully you can see this.
It's loading up now.
Okay, so one of the coolest things in the development space right now, Bergs, which Bitcoin have been working on, is the capacity on the Lightning Network. So the people that don't know what the Lightning Network is, the Lightning Network is basically an extension to Bitcoin to allow more microtransactions to happen on the network. So if you think about Bitcoin as the rails, as the train track, the Lightning Network is the train that sits on top of the rails. So it's able to move faster and quicker. And once those transactions are confirmed, that brings those transactions back to the Bitcoin blockchain and confirms them. So if we've got a chart here, Bergs, if you can bring it up, what we've got here is the capacity. This is the other one, Bergs. If you can bring up the Lightning Network one. It's basically showing the capacity of the amount of transactions that can happen on the Bitcoin Lightning Network. So here you can see the orange line is absolutely just taken off in recent times. And this is due to the development that's happening on that Lightning Network. So as an analogy, if you think about the MasterCard or Visa debit card, if you think about the amount of people that have those debit cards, multi-millions of people, probably hundreds of millions, who knows, and how many transactions that they would need to process at any one time. It'd be massive, right? What the Lightning Network is trying to do is replicate the ability to compute that many transactions in a decentralized system. So this is groundbreaking. This has never been done before. So the computational power required on this right now on the Lightning Network is around 4,500 Bitcoins at any one time, the amount of volume. So this is basically allowing, again, everyday usage of the Lightning Network to be able to be done on the Lightning Network. So as more and more people use it, they can actually use it. Because in previous bull markets, when the Bitcoin network gets really, really busy, the transaction times become really, really slow, and it takes a long... and it also costs you a lot in fees. So this is a really big development, Bergs, which I foresee the Lightning Network being used more and more. Because when I went to Miami earlier this year, I have Bitcoin on my Wallet or Satoshi app, and I was paying for things on the Lightning Network. It's super fast, super simple, and it doesn't cost me fees. I don't have to transfer my Australian dollars to US dollars. It's all in Bitcoin. And I do foresee this being used more and more as time goes on.
It was instant. It was like PayPass. It was just so good. And if you think about it, if you meet up with someone, you'll transfer them Bitcoin, you're waiting around for like minimum of kind of like 10 minutes for it to go through and be confirmed. You want to wait like, a block or so it's actually confirmed. Whereas this will go straight through. And I love your train analogy. I heard another one, which is really good. It's like a bar card. So if you go to a bar, put your credit card on the bar and you just get a bar card, number 45, keep buying, instant. At the end of the night, you just do that one payment and you settle.
Yeah.
And that's the equivalency of using the Lightning Network and then settling on layer 1 chain.
I love that. Now, while we're also on Bitcoin, Bergs, there's the other chart you had there, which is called the MVRV Ratio, which is what's called the market value to realized value ratio. So this is a really cool way of looking at the ratio between the market cap being MV and the realized cap being RV. So the market value, if you're going to look at how Bitcoin is priced, the value of Bitcoin at any one point in time is decided by the last traded value of a Bitcoin. So if I buy Bitcoin for $20,000 to Bergs, I'm the last person ever at any one point to buy Bitcoin. That's the price it gives you. The realized value, though, however, is basically and in simple terms, the average value of the total owned Bitcoins and what that value of that Bitcoin is priced in at, which is different to the last trader. So it's like the last trader versus the average cost that everyone in the network uses. Now, the ratio here, historically, when it goes below $1, is historically an undervalued point in time to buy Bitcoin. So anything under 1 is considered below its realized or fair price and presents a potentially historic buying opportunity. And right now, if you look at this chart, and this for the podcast listeners at home, basically, Bitcoin has gone under this $1 price point 5 times in its history, and now is the 5th time. And every point in time it's gone below that $1 ratio point, it's proceeded with a bull market in the following sort of 6 to 12 months. So this is a really important point, Bergs, because I see Bitcoin as undervalued right now. I think we're in a great buying opportunity. It's great accumulation period. And historically, it's followed by a bull market. So I'm really excited about this chart, and more importantly, just excited about where Bitcoin is right now.
You can almost see the halvenings, like those peaks, like just afterwards, and then the troughs when people get bored and there's not a lot of innovation or price action.
100%. So amazing. I think it's a good time to accumulate. Obviously, this isn't a blueprint to equally we can't predict the future, but history does rhyme. And I think, it's a really good time to be buying up, like we've been saying on the channel for a little while now. So,
love that. Love those charts.
The other thing in the crypto space, Bergs, there's been a shitload of money raised, right, over the last 12 or 18 months for Web3. I think we said there's been about $7 billion worth of money raised in Web3 funds alone. A lot of that hasn't been deployed. A lot of dry powder, a lot of crypto just being held, ready to invest. Matt, our head analyst, estimates $7 billion of VC funds raised in 2021 that hasn't been deployed yet. That's a shitload of money.
That's wild. Like, that can fund a lot of projects. Even the big ones like Moonbirds, like, they just raised 50 mil. It's crazy on top of, their original raise and then the royalties that they're getting as well from sales. That's a lot of capital that's going to flow into this space. And if you think about how big is the space, it's like under $1 trillion.
Yeah, around $1 trillion.
Yeah. That's just so crazy.
7%.
So it's like...
Is it 7%? No, it's like 0.7%. That's still a lot of money.
Yeah. So that's the thing, is like it's around about 1% of the total value is like going to be invested, which is just, that's huge. That's a lot of money.
And a lot of the best projects and companies are built in bear markets, right? Because you're undercapitalized, you have to remain lean, you have to focus really hard on the product. So, if you're looking to invest right now, it's a good time, I think.
Absolutely. And I think these guys are just really particular about how and where they're going to invest. They're wary of the macro situation. So they have these huge pools of funds building up. But we are seeing a lot of quality companies getting funded, which is really exciting to see. So if you're out there and you're building something amazing, hit those people up.
One thing I try and think about as well when I'm investing in any market, and one thing that I've learned along the way is there's two things when looking at any crypto asset. One is the value, the price, the value, and then there's also the price. So the value of an asset doesn't necessarily dictate the price, and the price doesn't necessarily dictate the value. You can have two separate things. So when we look back in November when Bitcoin hit 90,000 Australian dollars, the price went above the value. The value of that asset, what it was actually doing, what it was doing to society, how it was helping people, wasn't valued at $90,000. So we had a sell-off. Now I believe that Bitcoin's value is higher than $20,000. The price has gone underneath the value. And you look at any asset, whether it's property, stocks, whatever, if the price is underneath what you think is the value, that is a great buying opportunity. And vice versa. If the price goes above the value that it's delivering to society, that's a great time to sell. So it's a good way to look at differentiating value and price as an investing strategy.
Oh, I completely agree. And that's what you need to look at. Look at where things are undervalued. Can you see value and think long term where other people cannot? You're right. The classic one is real estate, and a lot of people do that. Like, can I buy in this area because I know in 2 years there's going to be a zoning change, and then the area is going to be gentrified 5 years later. So I can buy that land, I can renovate, I can knock it down, build a couple of houses, and then this property's worth a few $100,000 more. Those kind of things, like the future kind of utility and value. If you can see that ahead of the curve, you should be going for it.
You're laughing. One thing that we're looking potentially ahead of the curve at the moment, Bogues, is the NFT market, which is hit all-time low volumes, I think.
Yep.
Right? The market volume's dead. Are we? I mean, I'm not sure if you listened to the All In pod the other day, but they were basically, throwing in the towel. What's his face? J Cow is always bearish on crypto. Hates crypto. He was like throwing in the towel. He's asking Sachs, he's like, mate, is this all over? We wrapping it up for NFTs, big bubble. What are your thoughts, Bergs?
He's such a hype man.
Yeah.
So I'd actually like to share some data from this. Let me go share that. So here we go. Can you see that on your screen, man?
Yep.
Awesome. I feel like that's the catchphrase of like COVID. Can you see my screen? Has that come up? Like every time. There you go. Make that a bit larger. There you go. So this is some NFT data. We'll put in the show notes where this is from because I can't remember off the top of my head. But if we have a look here, 1st of Feb was quite peaky. And this is from OpenSea. This is from their contracts, from their 8 main contracts. And look at this. You've got 55,000 daily users. Volume was 216 million, 105,000 transactions in February. And then if we look at our 30-day average, that's dropped to about half. The volumes come down significantly, and so have the transactions. And if we go over here, we'll just see, look at that, the users. So if we go from a peak of 55,000 users, 216 million, 105. So 55, 200, 100. We're now down to about 10% of that. So if you think
just to be clear, Bergs, is this the OpenSea data? Is this the amount of users on OpenSea, or?
Yeah. So I think this is daily active users, daily volume, and daily transactions. So if we think about this, OpenSea is like eBay of NFTs. So everything has just completely tanked. And it's a very interesting time where we're going... If I think back to even a year ago up until February, Discords were pumping. You had to be in there every day. It was like a fire hose of information. Someone would have a mint. You didn't even care what it was. You were buying it. It was awesome. Everyone was happy. Everyone was going to get rich. We're all going to make it. That was the catch cry of everyone. It's like WAGMI Central. And now it's just dead in Discords. There's basically a good morning and that's about it. Prices have come down significantly. A lot of them are down 80 to 90%. And this is the part where I get excited because if you look at those massive projects, if you look at Bored Ape Yacht Club or V-Friends or Mutants or Moonbirds, even Moonbirds, what's the Moonbird price now, man? Do you know?
I think it was like 13 or 14 ETH floor. Let me check.
So 14 ETH, about 30K Australian. So that's only a 3x from the mint price. and it went up to 15x, even higher from the mint price. So they've come down significantly. So if you believe in those kind of things long term and the price is down that much, it's down about 80%. It's something you should be considering if you're looking at that future value. Even I'm eyeing off for Series 1V friends because it's come down so much. And the future utility that Gary has promised with things like, and tickets to VCon and all the drops that he does and everything else that you can access, the in-person events, there's a lot of value there and it's something that you need to consider. And so, yeah, NFTs have absolutely fallen off a cliff. But something interesting happened this weekend. So a friend of mine, a couple of months ago, 3-4 months ago, she was trying to get into NFTs. And I was like, yeah, cool, come over, we'll set up your wallet, I'll help you out, we'll do all this stuff. She wanted to buy an NFT that was like $100. And gas fees were like $300 or $400. It was just ridiculous at the time. So I'm like, okay, we'll do it at another time. Another time never came because gas fees were just stupid. And your transaction would get stuck. You'd have to wait forever. And I'm like, look, it's not a good experience. You shouldn't be spending this amount of money just to buy this thing. Anyway, it was her birthday on the weekend and her husband ended up buying her a bunch of NFTs because transaction fees were like a couple of bucks. So now she's in the game and she's all excited. She's showing off on her phone, all this kind of stuff. So people that wanted to get in earlier and couldn't because the price action was too high and the transaction costs were too high now have a way to be able to do this, which is just really exciting for me. And even now, like yesterday was the first time I dusted off my hardware wallet in about 4 months. Like I haven't used it for 4 months. All I've been doing is buying and sending to my addresses. I haven't been doing lots of transactions. But I was playing a play to earn game, Bridge World in Magic. It's a layer 2 kind of thing. I'm in a guild with a bunch of guys. Old mate Ericsson's in there. He's leading it up. And I had to do a transfer. I had to transfer some in. The game mechanics have changed. They've released some new things. They're releasing like harvesters and new parts and it's this entire thing. And the transactions are like a cent, a quarter of a cent on layer 2. It is just amazing.
That's awesome.
And yeah, so I dusted it off, threw that in, and then that's starting to pick up again, which is really exciting.
Well, it goes to show, like, those games and even, so just think about that for a second. Trying to buy a $100 NFT, it's going to cost you $400 a transaction.
Yeah.
Imagine going to the coffee shop and buying a $7 coffee and MasterCard charges you $35. Like, it's unusable. Crazy. Ridiculous. So I think right now is a good time to start to dabble, and that's why Ethereum's trying to go through those upgrades to make it much easier and cheaper.
Exactly. And you can just see, I really like June Analytics. So this is a great site you can go onto. You can write your own code and it goes straight to all the contracts and give you the data. And this is just a really telling tale. So we've got kind of, October 2020, ramp up through. This is in quarterly to May. And just look at that, start of the year. Mid-year, then all the way up to last year. Even the start of the year, things were still pumping and now it's just fallen off a cliff again. It's actually quite a nice like little normal distribution there. And even in the last kind of from the 7th of June until now, so pretty much last quarter, you can just see that massive downtrend where you were going from, daily volume, you're going from 1.5 million to like 20K. And this is just this part here.
I reckon this sort of volume bergs is like very representative as well of crypto exchanges. Like,
yeah,
100%.
The
volumes are probably down 80-90%, right? Like we spoke about this other week of crypto companies laying off more people. This space generally is in a bear market. I was on AusBiz this morning, online TV show, and they sort of asked me around this. And I think the reality is we're still very correlated with equities, stocks market. The stock market had a huge sell-off. And it's not just crypto that's going through a bear market. Like, it's all macro factors. People have less money to spend. Everything's costing more money. Retail investors generally are not interested in an asset that's continually going down.
Yep.
Nor do a lot of people have a lot of spare cash to invest right now either. So, especially NFT flipping, right?
Your mortgage alone's gone up $200 to $400 a month, just on the cheaper side, right?
Yeah,
it's crazy. And yeah, all the money's dried up, and crypto's going to get hit harder because if you think about on the risk curve, you've got things like relatively safe where you've got cash, real estate, equities, derivatives, and then you've got crypto, then you've got NFTs, and just this last graph here is just really telling. So this is OpenSea fees. So there's the fees that OpenSea have and the seller fees as well. And that has absolutely just fallen off a cliff where you're pulling in, over 300 mil a day to now 1.5 mil. And you have to feed this massive company. So these are the things that crypto companies are going through at the moment.
Yeah, so for the listeners at home, OpenSea monthly fees, the amount of money that they've made when you go back to January, February, in one day, it looks like, I'm not sure, this is not a daily chart, but it looks like maybe a weekly chart or something like that.
Yeah, sorry, it'd be monthly, yeah.
Monthly chart.
Yeah.
Pulled in over $300 million, and now it's close to $1 million. That is a pretty much close to 95% down. That is extraordinary.
It's insane. And to think about this, you have overseas notorious for like bad service, right? Like you send in a service ticket, you get it back like 6 years later. It was the same when Coinbase first started as well. So what they've done is they've got this thing, they've got product market fit. They were doing it for years and all of a sudden, bang, it just happened. And they have to scale up and they've got heaps and heaps of employees. And now you're not raking in all that cash. And hopefully they've got good fiscal management and a lot of working capital, because otherwise they're going to have to reduce their staff as well.
Well, it's where a lot of projects back in 2017 didn't manage their money well. They held a lot of their capital raised in Ethereum. Ethereum tanked, and they're sitting there with massive bills and no money.
That breaks my heart. So this is the thing. We were talking about this last week, where people want to build a thing. They're in maybe sales or marketing, and then you got a technical person as well. You build a thing, you raise a significant amount of capital, and then you get the oh shit moment because you have to run a business and you've not run one before. You don't understand accounting, you don't understand finance, you don't understand working capital. And you saw like one of the guys, old mate, that was bloody trading. They raised like 15 mil and he's like trading in and out of things. And you're like, no, you need to put that somewhere secure. Like you need to lock that money in, because think about it. You got 15 mil and you're like, great, I'll keep it in Ethereum. Ethereum goes down 90%. You've now got 1.5 mil in your working capital. You are stuffed and you have to hold on for dear life. And you've raised all this money and people have these expectations on you. You've got this money. You need to deploy it. You need to deliver value. You need to deliver utility back to the people that have bought into this. Yeah, and you're unable to do that.
It's a good segue, Bergs, into the second half of our show, where we want to talk about acquisition strategies and, you know, how the lessons learnt from our company about acquisition strategies, because it's been a fairly new thing that I've sort of started to develop over the last 12 months with Aman, our Chief Growth Officer, coming in, learning about the world of marketing, because marketing is massive. It's like crypto, right? It's huge. And one thing we like talking about on the podcast is, Web3 startups and crypto. So it's a good sort of integration. And for those listeners at home, whether you're running a business, starting a business, you're in marketing, whatever it might be, this is sort of our lessons learned along the journey. And I'm just sort of going to map everything that's going on, or everything you can think about in marketing, because there's so much, Bergs. You've got brand, you've got marketing, you've got sales, you've got online, physical. Then you go into your numbers. You've got cost per leads, your conversion rates, CAC, LTVs. Then you've got your individual strategies like affiliates, SEO, YouTube, podcast, pre-roll, post-roll. There's a lot of different terminology and stuff going to that space. So,
yeah, all the VC metrics, mate.
All the VC metrics. So our product is a B2C, business to consumer product, where we sell digital products and we're trying to sell it online. So, there's two real things you got to think about when you're looking at acquiring customers. There's marketing and there's sales, and they're not the same. Sales is very much more shorter term driven sales. So it's transactional. It's, hey, I've got this pen, Bergs. It's going to retail for $2, but today I'm going to sell it to you for $1.30. Do you want it? Yes or no? That's more sales. Marketing is about brand and building up think about Nike or Adidas. They're the world leaders. Coca-Cola, world leaders in brand, because they build a story. Yeah. They build emotion. They build feelings behind the brand. So this isn't just a $2 pen. This pen has been built, handcrafted in the lakes of Tasmania. It
represents freedom and prosperity
and hope. It allows you to document your life. It gives you a vision, a strategy. It gives you something that no pen could ever give you before. And that
out of all the pens, this is the pen you need that will solve all the problems in your life.
Yeah.
If you're not writing with this pen, you are not living your best life. You are not working to your full potential. How good.
That is marketing. So good businesses really mix a bit of both. The best businesses, the best companies in the world are very much great on brand. They spend billions and billions of dollars on building out their brand. If you look at any Coca-Cola ad, Coca-Cola doesn't tell you the price of their cans of Coke on their ads. It's all about, I think when I'm at Coca-Cola, it's like you're at a beach with friends. It's summer, cracking a can open.
Big party.
It's life-changing. It's, euphoric. You're making friends. It's, Coke is about it's a dream. It's a lifestyle. It's not a $2 can that you get at the servo on your, on the way home from work. What I mean?
It's the same with Starbucks, man. Like, they offer shit coffee, but the experience you have when you go in, they know your name, the customizations, and then you walk around with this Starbucks with your pumpkin spice latte inside, and you're all like hoity-toity, and you're like, it's a signal to everyone else that, hey, I can afford this thing. I've experienced this thing. I'm a Starbucks customer.
100%. So like any business, you need to have a product to market. And I think I'm a big believer of having a good product. Because you have a shit product that you sell, people aren't going to come back. And one of the best ways to sell your product is through word of mouth. So word of mouth is when I say, hey, Bergs, I bought this pen the other day and my God, it has changed my life. You should definitely get this pen, right? If I bought this pen and it was shit, I'm not going to talk to Bergs about it. In fact, I'm probably going to give a negative review.
That's it. It's like you ask anyone, why did I buy that? Oh, because a friend recommended it. If there's 50 options out there, you're just going to call someone and be like, I don't have time to go through all these. What's a good one? Great, I'll get that.
And that's free, Bergs, isn't it? I'm not a business. Yeah. This pen business is not paying me to do that. I've just said that naturally because of how good of an experience I had. So if you can deliver a great experience, number one, that's going to really change the game. Word of mouth is really big for us. And you can build on the top of word of mouth an affiliate program. So a lot of crypto projects use this. I think CoinSpot's been the winner of this, the $5 or $10 referral system back in the day. If you refer a friend, you get $10 free of Bitcoin. They absolutely killed it. I think that's how they got most of the market share back in the day. Affiliate programs is a great way to grow your brand naturally.
And this gets back to customer acquisition costs. So if the lifetime value of your customer is $50, you will likely be willing to spend up to $49 to acquire that customer. Yeah. So if I offer you, and I think the $10 is really good, where it's $10 for you and $10 for the person that you refer.
Yeah. And
they've worked out the lifetime value of the customer is obviously more than that $20 that they're willing to spend to attract that customer to their business.
So let's talk about that. So that's what we call VC metrics, or really at a really simple level, what you pay to get a customer needs to be less than what you can get out of that customer. So the two real key metrics here is CAC, or customer acquisition costs. The other side is your LTV, or lifetime value of a customer. So if I have this pen, how many times or how much did I pay for this pen? And do you think I'm going to come back and buy another pen at the end of the life cycle? So let's say this pen's worth $15. Then my CAC, my cost of acquisition, needs to be lower than $15. Because if I'm paying $30 to receive $15, you've got a broken system. If I'm paying $5 to get $15 back, you've got a great system. That's where you can really leverage it up and scale out your business. So digital businesses are great like that. You can really track your CAC and your LTV really simply. And there's a lot of different strategies to get that CAC and where you get those customers from.
And you see examples where, like the broken system, the broken business, that's Uber, right? Where for years and years, they just raise more and more capital. And they're offering you free rides, they're giving you free meals, they're giving you free everything because they want to capture the majority of the market. And what they've done is your lifetime value might be $100. They're spending $200. So where do they get that money from? They go to VCs and they raise another round and another round and another round. And they were not profitable for a long time. I don't even know if they're profitable now. But what they were doing was trying to capture the entire market, absolutely dominate, and then reduce those incentives and then raise their prices or whatever they're going to do as a path to profitability once they're one of the dominant market player.
Yeah.
And you see that a lot where people just pump more and more money in, and it's crazy and crazy. You hire more people, you're spending more, and the VCs need to keep feeding that in order for the game to stay alive, in order for you to IPO and exit and dump on retail. Yeah. And then when you have to start doing all your quarterlies, your earnings and everything, they see how bad the business actually is, which is why when we see all these, tech companies and they IPO within the next couple of years, or they SPAC if they want to go on quickly, it's like an 80% downtrend.
Yeah.
Because now they're scrutinized by the market and they're not using VC metrics anymore. They're using traditional metrics.
It's important to differentiate that's some of the biggest companies in the world that are raising that money are looking really to own that market share, and they're going for customer numbers above everything else. But for most businesses, you're looking to try and get profitability or cash flow, and that's what we are. We're not heavily VC backed and not looking to do crazy things like that.
Yeah, you want to have a sustainable business.
Yeah,
that's what you want. Like any mom and pop store, like if you've got a hairdresser, you need to be making bank. If you're spending more than you're earning, that business closes. Yeah. It's always really good to bootstrap. If you want to go really fast and you want to hyperscale and you need rocket fuel to get there, that rocket fuel is cash. That cash comes from rich people. Those rich people are VCs.
I like that. So one of the biggest strategies that we've used that works really great is about brand and that marketing aspect. So we put a lot of time and effort into podcasts, YouTube channels, social media, organic content. That's all about delivering value. It's all about delivering value to your customer and potential customers around the product that you're selling. So we have the Ben and Bergs podcast. Aman has the Alfalfa podcast. We've got the Collective Shift podcast. We've got the YouTube, Collective Shift, YouTube. And then we've also got organic content and a bunch of other social media stuff we do as well, all about delivering value. And we cut up those clips, Bergs. We do the Ben and Bergs stuff. And then we have a social media team that cuts up those clips, because a lot of people like the shorts. A lot of people like, YouTube shorts, TikTok reels, Instagram reels like the shorts because it's faster and easier to consume. So after this video, we'll have our social media team to go up and clip this content, and then we'll distribute that on the other platforms to try and get that more reach and distribution. And TikTok right now is insane for distribution.
Yeah.
Some of the clips we do here will get 10 to 15,000 views, a little 30-second clip, which it's insane.
Literally, Ben will show me, because I'm not on TikTok yet, and then he'll show me. He'll be like, "Bro, your clip has like 5,000 views in like a day," and it's just like my head talking about something. I'm like, how does this even work? And I even saw like one of Gary V's shorts where he's like, everyone's just copying TikTok now, like their algo, because that's where attention is. It's winning. That's the thing that you need to look at.
So the algorithms have changed from the old models where it used to be how many followers you had gave you your weightings on how much reach and distribution you got. But where TikTok has changed the game is it's weighted by interests and engagement. It doesn't matter how many followers you have. If you have a cracking video that people love and will watch, it will distribute it out no matter how many followers you have, which is really distributing and balancing out the ability to get engagement and reach based on the quality of your content, not based on how many followers you have, which has changed the game completely.
That is so good. And I really like it when it's, what do people like me like? Because I'll probably like the same thing. And you see this on Amazon. Like, people have bought this, they've also bought that. And then when it's based on interest, it's so much better than just the big dogs that, pump out the same old stuff all the time, getting into those channels. And I've noticed this, a few of the other algorithms has changed as well. Even Twitter slightly as well. I'm getting random people that have like 8 followers, but the content's bang on for what I would engage with.
Yeah. It's better experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's on the brand. Oh, you go back.
And then also we do a lot of offline stuff that doesn't scale. And everyone will tell you, you need to scale, you need to have leverage, you need to have this. But you also need to do the offline things as well. And this is, Ben, you going to meetups, or you flying somewhere and doing a talk, or picking up the phone and talking to someone, or, a customer, or whatever it may be. Those things are really high touch and high value interactions. And you don't get the scale of heaps of people, but you do get a really deep interaction with someone, and they're more likely to take action from that. And the classic example is my mate that's never bought crypto in his life, took your exact words, took his money, bought BTC and ETH, didn't buy any shit coins, and now he's set.
Yeah. And probably a long time follower now that we're adding value. And 100%. So that's all good marketing, and strategy should be mixed with some sales as well. So we have a sales strategy where we build out funnels, and we create different value products where people can buy and basically upsell based on how excited and how engaged and how much they want. So at the top, we might have a low tier offer where it might be like $5 or $7 where we offer something of value. They sign up to that, and then we have different upsells where they can get more value based on how much they're interested. So, the other night we did a webinar, and then we were able to sell our top tier product where let's say there's 1,000 people or 100 people that sign up. You get probably around 50% conversion into the upsell. And then you probably have about a 10% upsell into one of our memberships, for example. So it's all about creating value offers and giving people, because people are at different levels. They might be just interested in the lower product and they just want to get started. And then they might be really interested and want to get going straight away. So you give them all those options, and that's been a really good sales strategy for us.
And it's brilliant. This is how you find customers on the internet. So with us as a company, we had 3 tiers, $25.99, $199 a month. But we're still building our brand. We don't have that brand presence and power for people to just sign up and just go in there. Like, we're not Apple or something like that, right? So what do? We run ads, we run webinars, and we have lower tier products. So people can come in. Look, we know we're amazing. Our customers tell us we're amazing. We just need more customers. But in order to build that, we will offer those lower tier products, those cheaper products, so people can get in. They can have a little taste. It's not a recurring monthly payment. They can see it. If they like it, then they can step up and they can become a member. It's just a beautiful way to find customers on the internet.
Love that. So there's a lot to do with marketing. We probably have a whole episode on it, but that's sort of some of the lessons that we've learned. Also, to be careful, one of the things that we learned pretty early on, especially when it comes to influencer marketing, is that there is a lot of crap out there. A lot of YouTubers will actually pay for their followers. So you look and go on their YouTube channel, they might have 100,000 followers and get 10 to 15,000 views on an episode. But if you actually look closely, you can plug in some of their data into like a website called Social Blade. And Social Blade is where you can analyze historical data of any YouTube channel, Twitter, whatever it might be. And you can see the spikes of when they got in followers or engagement. And some of these YouTube channels, actually a lot of YouTube channels, buy their followers. So you see no engagement, and then one day they just add like 100,000 followers in a day, which is obviously not right. And then what they do is they buy views, they buy bots to comment, and it's all a big facade. They look like they're actually a highly engaged YouTube channel, but the reality is the only person that watches it is their mum at home, and they've got no one following it, and they're charging $5,000 to $15,000 for an advertisement, and it's all a facade. So please be careful. When I did this, honestly, no joke, 50 to 55% of the people I was looking at, about half, were fake. Yeah. And it's actually quite difficult to follow. So drop any link before you're buying any advertising on influencers or podcasts. Whack their link into Social Blade and have a look at that data. You need to do your own research before following some of these guys.
Definitely. And the majority of them, like we get approached all the time. People want to pay us to review their project or their coins. And a lot of YouTubers take this on and they will do it because it's how they get paid. It's the model that they have. Our brand is built on trust. Like Ben and I say, buy Bitcoin and Ethereum. We get nothing from that. From telling you to do that. There's no Mr. Bitcoin or Mr. Ethereum that's going to pay us for doing that. You know, these are decentralized blockchains, decentralized coins, but we do that because we want to educate people. We want to bring people into crypto. We want you to have a good experience. And then when we do our research and analysis, we have bullish and bearish cases in a video and a write-up where you can read it, and then that's like your starting point, and now you're quite knowledgeable on it. You can then go and make a decision elsewhere. We're not like, here's the buy button next to it. You have to get this. You have to do that and sign up and I'll give you 10% off, get in early and do all these things, all this crap that you see on YouTube. And when you're looking at these, you know, because it's very hard when you're first starting. If you're looking at a YouTube channel, just think in your mind, how is this person incentivized? And take away their incentives, and then you will get their motive for why they're doing something. So if they're talking big on a project and the things aren't really adding up, you're like, this person's probably paid. Look for the little sponsored content in the corner and see why they're actually doing this and recommending it to people on the internet.
Yeah, I love it, Bergs. Mate, that's been good as well. Really good deep dive in the strategies. Let's head into meal of the week, man, or meme. What would you say? You want a meme or meme or food?
Let's do a meme, mate. Let's pick it up. Let's do a meme. All right.
What do we got today, mate?
So this is an older meme, but mate, he's come back. Oh, so
what a classic.
So good. All right. Here we go, mate. You know who this is?
Yeah, what's his face?
So this is Hezbollah Magomedov, right? So this guy is an absolute menace. So he's been running around Australia, punched Shaq in the face. He's been following for the last sort of 3 or 4 months, even the last 6 months. He's a menace. He just goes around, he just punches people, he just tries to get into fights, and he's an absolute legend. 19 years old. He was on the Kyle and Jackie O show. Anyway, let's get into the meme. So Hezbollah's sitting on a plane. He's got his mask on and he's just got tons and tons of cash. And the caption is, "Motherfucker said I had a disability. Yeah, disability to get this bread." And man, it is so good. He is such a menace. Like, if you go to follow him on Twitter and also follow Hezbollah Hive, it's amazing. It is such a crack up. This guy's life is amazing. Hangs out with all the MMA people, gets up to wild stuff. He's in crazy cars. He's just does not give a shit. He's so small. He's like maybe 2 feet tall, but mate, he gets amongst it. And mate, I've got a second meme of the week for you.
Oh, good too.
He's back, mate. Look at this. Pete Davidson holding Melania's hand, and the caption is 2 weeks after Trump goes to jail. Mate, he's working his way up that Illuminati ladder, going right to the top. He's going to find out, baby. So good. Couldn't stop laughing at this one. This is going to continue forever. I love it, man.
And just so the listeners at home know, I met some of Bergs' mates the other day in Perth, and they were telling me before he worked at Collective Shift, basically his full-time job was posting memes all over Facebook. He'd be posting like 20 to 40 a week.
Mate, it's how I got by.
Oh, classic. Meal of the week, Bergs.
All
Do you
right.
want to go first?
Yeah, you go, mate.
Okay. So, meal of the week, Bergs. This week, believe it or not, I have a chicken burger. Now,
look at that.
You have seen this chicken burger because you took me to this burger place in Perth last week, and oh my goodness, this was unbelievable. First of all, the bun. The bun was soft. It wasn't like greasy. It was fresh. We had the fried chicken. Also, don't know how they did it. They deep fried it, but again, wasn't like filthy oily. It was like a clean chicken burger. I went the upgrade. I had bacon and cheese, which I paid for afterwards, but during the time it was great. We had the coleslaw on the top. We had this wicked aioli mayonnaise. And man, the cheese. Look at that cheese. Just a piece
delicious.
of cheddar. Like like thin, cold, not like melting. It was just like beautiful. We had the skewer down the guts. We had potato gems to accompany it.
And wings.
And wings.
So-
and a nice fresh glass of Coke.
Oh,
Dude.
and what happened was, because Ben, he's a bit of a potato. So what he did was he booked the podcast from 12 till 2. Peak lunch hours, right? So I don't have time to eat beforehand. It's like 12 till 2. Then we got to upload all the stuff. So it's about bloody 3 o'clock by the time we got to this place. And I'm ravenous. We're doing the podcast. Our stomachs are just rumbling. So we get in there and we're so hungry. It's like when you go to the shops hungry and you buy all this dumb shit. So we're like, right, we'll have the burgers, we'll have wings, we'll have potato jams. And, oh, mate, we were paying for it afterwards.
I was shocked for 3 hours. This is
mate,
great, though.
What would you give this out of 10?
What's been my highest so far? Was it the Launceston Airport? That's been
Yeah, that was like a 9
highest
point something, man.
Fuck.
I think that was a 9.2 or 9.3.
Yeah. Bergs, this is a 9.4.
Oh! Yeah, boy.
This is probably the best chicken burger I've had. It was just, although I paid for it afterwards during the time, just up, yeah, it was top notch. What was the name of the place, Bergs, in Perth?
Royales. They never miss. Amazing. Mate,
Bang.
all right.
Bang.
Let's go to my meal of the week, mate. Bang. Chicken burger, hell yeah. All right, so I got the chicken royale. So it's chicken, a little bit of slaw. I got extra slaw as well because it only came with that little bit. So it's like nice, creamy kind of mayonnaise slaw, lots of crunch. You got the beautiful like tomato. The tomato was great because they seasoned it as well. And the cheese actually tasted like proper cheese.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like random melted yellow. And they didn't even melt it over it. It was just so delicious. The bun, it wasn't sweet or anything, but it was just, it was thick, but you bite into it. You know, when you bite into it, it just goes really thin and it's just moist. And like, yeah, man, you're right. Like they use chicken thigh and the way that they cook it, it's not too greasy, but it's so juicy. Yeah. And you can just smash this whole thing. Even the bottom of the bun is toasted on both sides. So the things that come through, it doesn't leak through the bun. Yeah. And nice. Mate, I smashed this in about 2 minutes. It was all over my face. I didn't care. I got into it. I had like barbecue wings all over my hands because Ben can't handle hot wings because it's too hot. And then like I ate way too many potato gems with that like bacon like sauce. Oh my God. It was amazing. I was such a happy chappy after this. And I would give this a 9 out of 10, mate. It was that good. It was amazing. I think, what would I do to give it a 10 out of 10? I would probably, like to be honest, I'd add another piece of chicken in there. It would be that good. And I've got another addition as well. So I had this yesterday. The photo's a bit dodgy, but this is a beer, and it's a good beer. So yeah, it's like fancy glass. Like, and look, okay. First of all, it's a bit out of focus, but you know, look at the color on that. This is a golden ale. Look at the color on it. That dark, deep richness, and just look at the head on it. Unbelievable. And even more importantly, this is a homebrew, Ben. This is not a bought beer. This is a homebrew by my father-in-law. So he's been homebrewing for like 20 years, and probably just, you know, the Cooper's cans, that kind of stuff. Probably about 5 or 6 years ago, I got into all grain brewing. So basically you brew like a proper brewery would brew. And, you know, you get the grain, you do a mash, and then, you know, you do a boil, you add hops, you chill it, you ferment it, and then you bottle it or you keg it. And he came over one day and I taught him how to do it. And, mate, his beers are off the hook. So this is a Smirno's Golden Ale. So it's got like, okay, first of all, just look at the head on that fucking thing. It's unbelievable. You take a sip and, man, you just taste this absolute maltiness from the grain that he's used. And like this is like a Maris Otter grain. So this grain is so good. Like, you know those like muesli bars that you eat and you get that sweet honey kind of taste? Yeah. Like I literally had a bucket of grain. I would go in and just eat it. So you get hit with that nice malt profile. Yeah. And then you just get like the sweetness of like the carapils, and that gives it the head as well. And you got Amarillo hops, which are just a little bit of sharpness, a little bit of sweetness as well. And then you get the bitterness from it. And mate, this just puts a smile on my face every single time. And he's like trying to offer me, he's like, you want a beer? I'm like, you got any homebrew? He's like, yeah. And he's like, I got Peroni and stuff. He's like, just have that. And he's like, I'm like, no, I want your homebrew. It's fucking cracking.
Give me
Like,
some homebrew.
it is just so good. And the type of beer this is called an extra special bitter. We get shitty ones in Australia. If you ever go to the UK, have one where it's just refreshing, malty, amazing, and it just hits all the beer senses. Mate, this is a 9.5 out of 10.
Wow.
To take this to a 10, he needed to cold crash it after he fermented it, so everything drops out and it goes nice and clear and you get that clarity, and add a bit more dry hop. That would have been a 10 out of 10. Because the thing is, with homebrew all grain beers, they will, if you know your shit, they will always taste better than any brewery you go to.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is, if I'm making a batch of like 20 or so liters, I can add like 50% more hops if I want. A brewery can't do that, or they can't add super fancy grain because they're working to a specific thing where they have to charge a certain amount. They've got heaps of overheads.
Yeah.
And mate, this thing just put a smile on my dial. I had a good. It went over there for Father's Day, and this made me a happy chappy lad.
Wicked, mate. Sounds like a good frothy. We have to try one.
Oh mate, it was so good. I'll grab a couple of bottles, bring them over to Melbourne.
yeah. Bring it over in November.
So good.
Right, we might have to skip the books we're reading. Let's do that next week, Bergs, if you want.
All right, man.
We're going over time. Do you want to just fly through gratitude and kindness of the week?
Yeah. All right. So I'll kick off with a gratitude. This is just, I'm grateful for my friends and family. So I'm grateful that on the weekend I went to my mum's place, just chilled out with her, had some good food, took my daughter along. I had to do a fucking retic. Okay, so here's the story. So she's got retic and she had some people in doing a garden and basically one of those black poly pipe, and they just cut it. So all you do is you get like a little connector, put it in, 2 hose clamps, done. So what do? I go in there and I cut it to the right of where it is. And then as soon as I've done it, I'm like, why the fuck did I do that? I should just cut exactly where it was and connect it. So I had to go around, find some more poly pipe, and then it turned a 5-minute job into like a 45-minute job where I had to have like multiple joins, all this kind of stuff. But anyway, got it done. But I'm thankful for that. Thankful like just to, both my in-laws are still around. I can go and chill with them, you know, have a beer with my father-in-law. He's an awesome dude. Just have some nice food, talk about stuff. And I'm thankful for my friends as well, that I have friends that I can go and see, or friends I can call up and say, hey, come to this crypto event that we did. And they rock up, we have a good time, we give each other shit, we support each other, and then call my mates up and we can just go to the pub and we can have a meal, have a few frothies, and it's just awesome, mate. It's just good to have good people in your life, and I'm very thankful for that because not everyone has that.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. No, your mates are cool. It was nice to meet them the other week. My sort of gratitude for the week, for the first time in a long time, it was Father's Day yesterday. We had a family. I'm back home for the 4 or 5 days, back home with the fam. We had a family dinner last night. Around the dinner table, we had chicken and veggies, and it was just a throwback to when we all used to live together in the room.
So
we haven't
good.
had like a family dinner for so long, and it was just barely laughs. Like it was an absolute cracking night. Just so funny. Everyone was just back. It's just good to be with the fam. And very thankful for that. And we had a nice family day yesterday, Father's Day. Went out for lunch. And just grateful to be in crypto. Grateful to, run a business. I was able to pay, just to pay for breakfast or lunch for the family. Whether it be $200 or $300, whatever, just throw on the card. It's just nice to be in that position financially where you can just pay for something and you don't have to worry too much. So that was nice. Very thankful and grateful for that.
So good. And I've got a kindness as well. So This was not me doing it. Someone else was done to me. So this was for Father's Day. So I got treated like an absolute king by like the family. It was amazing. It was brilliant, man. It was like the one day of the year as like a dad where you're like, yeah, I'm king shit. You just feel really, really good. Like anything you want, you can do anything. And it was great. And I got some good feedback as well. So this is from a mate of mine. This is Joe. And in the last pod, I was saying the kindness, how one of my dad's old friends called me. And I was like mid-workout. And I'm like, oh, I need to get off the phone. I've got to get back to this. And they're like, why am I thinking like this? I'll just talk to her. And the end result was I had an awesome conversation with her. It would have meant the world to her. And when I'm old, I hope that someone would do that to me. And from Joe, he was like, oh, man, that really hit me. And this weekend, he called up his grandma. I had to talk to her. And then he went out to see her. And it was it's awesome to hear that kind of stuff where, there's things that we don't always do. We know we should, but we put off and put off and put off until it's too late. Get to them now. Go and do a kindness for someone because it'll mean the world to them and it'll feed your soul as well.
I like that. Do something for someone else makes you happy.
Absolutely.
Sure, very fulfilling. Awesome. Well, Bergs, let's wrap it up there. Listeners, if you're loving the podcast, send us in a question. We'd love to shout out some questions. I know we had someone comment on the YouTube channel, Bergs. I think must have been one of your mates about your barbecue. We have to do that on the YouTube. But Loving all the feedback. Every time I come back to Launceston, I feel as though I bump into someone that's now, listening to the pod. And Berg's had some great questions and feedback. So yeah, if you've got any questions about crypto, Web3, marketing, startups, whatever, food, doesn't matter. Feel free to drop us a question.
Absolutely. At BabyBackBerg and at Ben Simpson AU on Twitter. And Ben, mate, you're in the newspaper again. What is this? This is so okay. This is a big stitch up, mate. So he posts this in our Slack. He's like, "Win got picked up by whatever is the bloody local Lonnie Times," and the first thing is like, opening paragraph, favorite son of Circular Head. I'm like, come on, turn it up, mate.
My dad comes home. He said, "Who are you paying off to be the favorite son of Circular Head?"
That's exactly.
So Circular Head, that's like Smithton, Stanley area. It's like the top northwest coast of Tasmania. It's where I was born from. And Dad's like, yeah, fuck, you're the...
That's exactly what we did as well. And then like the last paragraph is like, for the amazing human being that he is. I was like, get fucked. Who in the media writes like this? This is bullshit. It's like he's written it himself and gone, yeah, here you go. I'll pay you like a couple of $100. You put this in the paper for us, mate.
So
unbelievable.
So it's one of my good mates, Kurt. He's the journo down in Smith. I used to referee with him, and Dad saw him on the weekend because Dad was down the coast and saw Kurt. And he's like, "Kurt, why are you writing love letters to my brother and to my son in the paper, mate? What are you doing?"
So good. I love it when your dad picks up. He's like, "What a load of shit, mate! I know this bloke. He's a shit bloke. Never comes home. Doesn't pay me rent."
Yeah, that's literally Dad.
So good. He sounds like a legend. I got to meet him.
I'll show him a photo of me in the newspaper. He doesn't even read it. He's like, "Oh, geez, you look like shit, mate."
So good. It's so Australian. Just like cut him down straight away. Amazing.
Oh, classic, man.
Brilliant.
Right, Bergs. Good stuff. If you want to get into crypto at all, head over to Collective Shift. We've got, so been some really good write-ups recently around the Ethereum merge. If you're keen on looking at that, you can sign up in the insider tier, $1 for 7 days. You can cancel if you don't like it, but there's some great stuff in there from Checkmate. We've recently added a new technical analysis trader. We've got more macro stuff. So we're giving you a full perspective. We're giving you technicals, fundamentals. We're giving you sentiment in a really quick, fast way so you can get ahead of the market. You don't have to worry about spending all that time worrying about what's going on. We've got a personalized dashboard now. You can plug in the assets you own. You can have a good view of your portfolio. We're giving you personalized updates. So much stuff to come, Bergs. It's
I heard an absolute legend made that, mate. That feature. He's the sickest bloke.
Who,
like
Tim. Mate.
Actually, yeah, you're right. Tim is a sick bloke. He's awesome. Yeah, but that's amazing. And Ben's right. And this is the marketing thing as well, where we had like free trials, but we see people go in, have a look around and do nothing. Whereas if you pay $1, it's just only $1, but it's that commitment. And the views that they had just went through the roof. Like people actually commit to pay that $1 and they'll spend a bit more time in there and have a look through what we've actually got. And you can really decide whether it's for you or not. And if you go for that insider tier, you'll get access to 99% of our stuff. It's absolutely everything.
Yeah. And you can get 50% off your first month by using the code in the description. Leave us a comment on YouTube or DM us on Twitter if you have any questions. And we'll be back next week, Bergs.
Mate, I'm looking forward to it. It was so good to have you in Perth. We're back to a long-distance relationship, Ben.
Yeah, we're back to long-distance, mate. Yeah, don't you cheat on me.
Mate, you've already cheated on me with Nova. What are you talking about? In November, mate, we'll hire out a podcast studio. And look, once the bull market hits, we're going to build a podcast studio, mate. It's going to be amazing.
Love it. Right, Bergs. See you next week, man.
Catch you later, man.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, folks. See ya.